Hi, I'm Laura Coleman. Welcome to the Pink House Virtual Kitchen. I am this month a 5-year survivor, so celebrating a big milestone. Yes, I had breast cancer during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so every year I get to celebrate my cancerversary. So I'm super excited to be I'm at the top of that mountain and I'm over the hump. And anyway, so super excited to have you all here too. So today we are going to start making a chicken sausage lentil soup. So this is a great winter recipe. It's high in protein, high in antioxidants, good vegetables. And if you're vegetarian, you don't have to put in the chicken sausage. So it's an easy little kind of way to go with both if you eat meat and if you don't. Talk a little bit about the chicken sausage. You use your favorite chicken sausage. I tend to buy Trader Joe's, and tonight I went with the spicy Italian chicken sausage, but I've used the chicken sausage with sun-dried tomato. I've done sweet Italian chicken sausage. I've done chicken apple Chardonnay sausage. So any sausage will work. It's whatever you want. I would say look for minimally processed, and I wouldn't say just organic, but chicken that's raised with no hormones or antibiotics. That's usually kind of my go-to. So we're going to get started, and we're going to get started with the chopping. Someone asked a question about how to chop an onion without shedding like many tears. So there's a couple of little tricks. One of the tricks is to put it in the freezer for a few minutes, right? And another trick is, you see the root end here? So you just keep that root end intact, and that should help to minimize the gases that come out of the onion that cause the tears. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep my root end intact. I'm going to grab a quick towel. I left it off to the side, so I have something to wipe off. And I'm just going to peel the outer layer, keeping that root end intact. And it's a soup. So what's nice about this is it's not a fine chop. You want little pieces of this. So you want like more of a dice. So I'm just going to make little slices of my onion, and it's going to keep it kind of together and make it a little easier for me to chop and slice through. So I just go through and slice, and I've got my little dice here. When I get to the end here, I'm just going to kind of go around the root, and I've got that little block, and it's done. So there is one half of the onion. We're going to go to the other half. And quite honestly, the quicker you chop, the less you are exposed to those noxious fumes that make you cry. All right, so here's my onion. I'm going to keep everything on this board. I tend to like celery, so I go for 3 stalks of celery. And again, it's just a rough chop. So and as I get down to like the thicker end of the stem here, I just cut that in half and then continue to chop. So everything's consistent in size. So we have more bite size. And then here's my cheat with the carrots. I hate peeling them. So I just buy the bag, pre-washed, and I am going to The ones that are thinner and smaller, I just cut in half. The ones that are thicker, I cut into thirds. And it might be a little more chopping, but I don't have to peel. I don't have to wash because they're washed, triple washed actually. And I just pull like my real thin ones together, and then I get 2 of those cut in half. And if you don't like big chunky vegetables in your soup, then just cut them a little smaller. It's all kind of preference. I like to cut them a little on a bias. Just gives it a little bit of a prettier presentation. I should have taken these out of the bag before we started. It would have been a lot easier, but I did not. All right, just a few more. I'll put those to the side, and I have my carrots all ready to go. So I'm going to get my pot heating up. So I have my soup pot here. I'm going to turn my heat up to about medium. And I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, just about 2 tablespoons maybe, just enough to coat the bottom. And then this is also called a mirepoix, right? Your celery, your onions, and your carrots. And I'm going to let this get hot, and I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to start sauteing it, and then I'm going to add my garlic. And the reason why I'm waiting to add my garlic is because I'm using the frozen garlic in this recipe. I'm not using garlic that I'm going to chop. I like the garlic, I like to kind of blend into the soup, so that's why I'm using the frozen garlic. So we're waiting for this to come up. I'm going to turn. Let me know is this really loud? Can you hear that noise in the background, the fan? Oh, good. Just a pig. I had to move the pig to the side. All right, I feel some heat coming up off of the pot, so I'm just gonna get my vegetables in. Easy enough. I'm going to say too, like with the celery, a lot of times if I get celery that has a lot of leaf at the end, I like to chop those up and put them in my soup. They're very, very flavorful. So we're going to saute this until the onions become translucent. So I can kind of let it go a little bit here. And what I'm going to do is just get my chicken stock and my vegetable stock ready. So if you don't want to do a mixture of the chicken and the vegetable, if you're doing vegetarian, just do all vegetable. Or I like the flavor that the two together, how they work in the soup. Vegetable broth has like a really kind of intense vegetable flavor to it, and I just think it counters the chicken really well. So I buy these. They're 32 ounces. Each is a quart. Easy. I buy it in bulk. These I buy in bulk at Costco. Really inexpensive. So we're going here. I'm going to season my vegetables with a little bit of salt right now, and then I'll season again later. A bit of pepper. Now, if you tend to like a little spice, a little heat, I would add some crushed red pepper now at this point. So this is doing well. Keep stirring, and I'm gonna get the rest of my ingredients prepped.
Laura, excuse me, what'd you say if you wanted a little heat?
Some crushed red pepper flakes.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. So what's really nice about chicken sausage is it's almost always pre-cooked. So it's an easy addition. You don't have to sit there and cook it before you put it into the soup. It's 12 to 14 ounces, or if you want a little more, you have boys in your family, men who like a heartier kind of soup, put more meat in. Open my cans of diced tomatoes. So they're ready to go. Give everything another stir.
Laura, can I use crushed tomatoes instead of diced tomatoes?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So it'll just give it more of like a tomato broth to it as opposed to having chunks of the tomatoes, but that's fine.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So my onions are starting to get translucent. I'm going to give it about another minute. How are you guys doing? Are your onions kind of coming to that translucent stage? You have a little more time. Don't worry, you've got time.
Laura, I have a question. I don't know why we don't do this the very first thing every time, but what wine would we be drinking with this?
Well, I would drink a nice kind of red blend or Italian wine or a nice Pinot Grigio.
Really? Not a Pinot Noir, huh?
Well, you could do a Pinot Noir. I don't think there's any rules. I think the only time like there's rules with food is if, I don't know, I think it's all personal preference. You know what I mean? Like I like a specific type of wine. I don't like Zinfandel, so I'm not going to eat Zinfandel with a spicy dish because I don't like it. I'm going to drink a Pinot Noir or a Cab or a blend. So
got it.
Drink whatever floats your boat. It's kind of like, right, they say you're not supposed to drink red wine with fish. My husband does it all the time, right? You're supposed to have white wine with fish. He drinks the red wine all the time with fish. All right. Good. So now I'm going to add my stock. So I'm going to add both stocks in.
You added the garlic already?
Oh my gosh, add the garlic. See, that's what happens. Thank God you're here. So it's a good reason, a good thing. Are you using fresh garlic?
No, I'm using the frozen.
Yeah, throw the frozen in, twirl it around. This is where it really doesn't matter when you use the frozen, so you can
Right.
add it in late.
Perfect.
So the garlic. And I'm just gonna pop 4 cloves in. Give it a little whirl, and then I'll add the second quart of broth. And you'll see, I love the color of like vegetable broth. It just gives it a little more depth and color. Here, I'm going to stir it. I'm going to turn it up to medium. And then bring it to a boil. I'm also going to get a spoon. I'm just going to taste for salt and pepper, and I'm just going to add just a tiny bit more salt. I was really light on it. Add a little bit more pepper. Another whirl. And there you go. So I wanted to say too, like I remember, I think the last time we made something that, you know, needed a little more kind of substance to it, you could make some pasta. So if you wanted to make like small little pasta, like little elbow macaroni or ditalini or something like that, you can make some and keep it to the side and then put it in the bottom of the plate and ladle your soup on top of that just to add another layer to the soup. So I just don't like to keep the pasta in there because it tends to absorb all the broth and all the juices. And then the pasta gets really kind of mushy. So I keep the pasta separate and I just add it to the bottom of the bowl and let the actual soup warm it up, since it's already room temperature or warm already. All right. How are you guys doing? Good?
Laura, could you use orzo?
Yeah, orzo would be a good one too. So, because it's nice and small. So if you wanted to use rice, you can do rice. You can do, I love wild rice, brown rice. What's another good one? Farro or barley, couscous. So anything. I love more the whole grain because of course you're going to get a little more benefit out of, you know, a whole grain as opposed to orzo, which is, you know, I mean, not that it's bad for you, but it's flour and water. Whereas, you know, you're getting a little more protein and fiber out of the grains. So it was funny because we decided to kick like October off with the soup, and the weather has been amazing, right? So it's been cool in the morning, cool in the at night, and it's been like in the low to mid 70s during the day. And then of course, what happens the day we're making soup? It's like 82 degrees here. I'm like, of course that would happen. All right, mine is starting to come to kind of like a little bit of a low boil. I'm going to bring it up to probably a medium to full boil. And then it will reduce and simmer. Okay, I'm going to reduce this to a simmer. And I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to allow some of the steam to escape. So I just kind of offset the lid so that it creates just a little vent of steam that's able to be released here. And it just helps keep the steam in there and help cook the vegetables just that much faster. There we go.
Have we added the tomato products yet or no?
No.
I didn't
Not
think
yet.
so. Okay, cool.
We're not going to add those till more towards the end. So we're going to let the vegetables cook here. If we added the tomato products now, especially if like the crushed tomatoes could probably go in, but these, you don't want to disintegrate the tomatoes, so you don't want them to cook as long.
Okay.
So now I'm going to prep the rest. So I'm going to get my sausage ready. And all I'm going to do with the sausage is I'm going to cut it into just bite-sized slivers. Now, I cut it into discs, but if you want to cut it into chunks, feel free. But I just cut it into thin, bite-sized slivers. So kind of that thin. You know, I'd say this is probably maybe not a half an inch, but not a quarter of an inch, somewhere in between. So just, I mean, use your judgment. Cut it into a piece that you would feel comfortable putting in your mouth and eating. So tell me what kind of sausage you guys got. So Denise, what kind of sausage did you get?
Are you asking me? I got the robust Italian.
And
I got Boar's Head robust Italian.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah, because I'm going to use fire roasted tomatoes also.
You're putting fire roasted tomatoes in?
Yes.
Good choice. I would too if my husband liked fire roasted tomatoes. If it were me, I would go for the fire roasted tomato. So I love that you kind of did that.
I'm glad I have Denise's address.
Except my lentils, I did my own lentils.
Huh?
I think I cooked them to mush, but my husband likes mushier lentils anyway. So.
I can look past that.
That's okay.
Okay.
Well, and the reason why some people just don't like to cook lentils, I just do the Trader Joe's ones because it's an easy kind of, I don't know, shortcut to say. So, I mean, you buy them, they're steamed, they're already cooked, you rinse them and you pop them in, they're ready to go. I have a ton of lentils here too. So there will be times when it doesn't matter what kind of lentils, red lentils, green lentils, whatever you have on hand. What kind of chicken sausage did you get, Shar?
I got the spicy one, maybe spicy Italian.
Yeah.
I went to Trader Joe's and I bought the carrots there. They had the tri-colored smaller carrots that were already peeled. So I just had to chop those. And then I got the lentils, which I've never bought them like this before.
Yeah.
And then I got the sausage, the chicken sausage. I was hoping it wouldn't be like unformed, you know, so I got the links just like you got with spicy.
Definitely. And they have a lot of different flavors in there. And like I said, I'll play with different ones. My husband tends to like spicy sausage, which is why I went with this one. Yeah, I've done the chicken apple Chardonnay sausage too, which actually gives the soup a little different of a hint of flavor. So each chicken sausage that you use will kind of change a little bit of the flavor combination of the soup, which is really kind of nice. So you can play with it.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got my sausage cut and ready to go. And my cans of tomatoes are opened and ready to go. I'm going to occasionally give this a little stir. And I am also going to get the lentils out because what I'm going to do is take the lentils and put them in a strainer. And I wish I could turn my camera so you could see it, but I'm going to put them in a strainer and just rinse the lentils. Good. So here you go. It's like about a pound of Trader Joe's steamed lentils. They come vacuum packed. They last for a really long time. So they look like these. They're brown lentils. They look like little baby black beans. So I'm going to open these up and get a strainer. There we go. I'm going to walk over to I'll turn you this way and then I'll turn you back. So maybe you can see, maybe not, I don't know. So I'm just going to break them apart and rinse them. turn it back. Then I'm going to stick them in this bowl here and let them drain. So they break apart nicely. They're already cooked. They're steamed. They're soft. I think your husband would like these because they tend to go a little on the softer side as opposed to the al dente side. And it's just, like I said, it's just, it saves you the step of cooking them. Because sometimes lentils can take, you know, how long are you taking? About an hour?
Yeah, they're on, yeah, they've been 45 minutes.
45 minutes? There you go. So, and you did, which, did you do red? Did you do green? You're muted.
I did red because I found them to be softer than the other ones. So,
yeah.
But they're turning brown now, but usually they'll be red again. I don't know why they turned like a brownie color.
I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna get my spinach ready too. So I like to add spinach in there. For me, this was a sneaky way to kind of get vegetables and spinach in my soups for my kids because they would never eat spinach. And I just cut it coarsely so that it doesn't look like leaf spinach. I almost kind of like to do just thin strips. And if, you know, your family likes it, you can throw it in whole. So my bag is a little bigger than what I told you to use. I think 5 ounces. This is bigger than 5 ounces. So I'm gonna probably only do about half of my spinach. I could always add more in after I see it. I know someone who, I'm trying to remember who was telling me this story. Oh, I think it's a fellow breast cancer survivor. One of you will know who it is. Who was telling me how she loves spinach, but she doesn't like all the stems at the bottom of the spinach. So she painstakingly cuts the stem off of every little spinach leaf. I'm like, you know, that's a lot of work for spinach. All right, we're prepped, we're ready to go. I'm gonna talk to you about what I like to serve this with. If you're into it, if you're not into it, that's fine. But I'm trying to think what's the name of this one. So this is the Harvest loaf from Harris Teeter. I like to tend to like dip a piece of bread in my soup when I eat it. I love it. It's just the grainy texture. It's whole wheat. It just really holds up to the body of the soup. Sometimes I'll just brush it with olive oil and grill it, or I'll brush it with olive oil and pop it in the oven. And it's just a nice little crunchy thing to go with your salad. I mean, your soup. So think about that. Or if you have bread at home, you can go with that. Keep an eye on this. Ooh, I can already smell all of this coming together. And I use a fork to just check for the tenderness of the carrots, because that's all you're really looking for, is for the carrots to be tender. And mine are coming close. So clearly I was off. I haven't made this in a while. I was off in the 30 to 40 minutes. So I think it's going to be closer to 20, 25 minutes for the carrots to become a little more tender. And I've used the tricolor carrots before. It's really, really nice. The white carrots tend to taste and have more like of a potato texture as opposed to a carrot texture. So it almost adds like another level to of texture to the soup. So I'm going to give this about maybe another 5 minutes because it's close. And what I'm gonna do is grab my Parmesan cheese and I'm gonna grate that. So I like Parmigiano Reggiano, so I always keep plenty of that around, and I have my little cheese grater. I'm gonna put it into a little bowl. So I'm gonna grate it right into the bowl. Sometimes I'll just grate it right into the soup, but it's soup for one tonight. So I'm gonna grate it into the bowl. All right, I have my Parmesan there. So now I'm gonna add my tomatoes. And you guys might have a little more time before your carrots are tender. So once your carrots are nice and tender, you're gonna, or if you want it to kind of, you want it to go along and add this and let it cook a little more on the back end, you can do that too. So I'm gonna add my tomatoes. I'm gonna add my sausage. I'm gonna give it a stir. And the soup color's starting to change just a little. It kind of is starting to take on the color of like almost a minestrone. I like to put, I know I said add the lentils, but I'm gonna put the lentils in towards the very end with the spinach. I'm gonna give the sausage a little time to flavor the soup and heat through. Still at a simmer. I'm gonna get a new spoon, taste for seasoning. And I add salt a little bit at a time. There's gonna be another little trick I'm gonna show you at the very end, which I did not put in the recipe. But I usually like to add a little squeeze of lemon juice towards the end on all of my soups. It just really brightens up the flavor. So if you have a fresh lemon at home, that'll work. Or if you have like lemon juice in a little, you know how they sell the lemon juice in the jar? A lot of people keep that in their fridge. So we're going there. I'm gonna turn this up to low because I want it to come to a low simmer. I'm gonna add my lentils. And stir breaking up the lentils. Make sure they're all broken up. Another thing about lentils in the soups, for some reason, they tend to like sink to the bottom. So when you're ladling out the soup, make sure you kind of go to the bottom of the pot and grab some of those lentils and bring them up. So I would say this is about 2 cups of lentils that are going in here. We need to figure out how to have like an over like the pot kind of picture like they do on Food Network. And I actually do have I have a tripod that would work with, but I don't know that, I think I'd be too afraid that it would fall into the soup. If I had a handy assistant here, that might work. Okay, this is gonna heat through, and as soon as it heats through, then we're gonna add the spinach. Once you add the spinach, it'll start to wilt, and then we'll be ready to plate it. So I have these cute little soup bowls. I use them for like French onion soup and sometimes shepherd's pies and stuff. So this is my go-to with soup bowls. I'm gonna grab a little plate to put it on. I'm a tad too short, so I can't reach them. We'll do it on, let's see, maybe on, it doesn't matter. We'll just do it on an off-colored one. So it'll be like that. Ready? All right. How are you girls doing?
Mine's looking good. I haven't put my, I gotta put my spinach in, but it tastes really good.
So
Gotta add a
far,
little
good.
salt.
You had to add a little salt. Do you have lemon at home?
Yep, I do. I'm ready to squeeze it in there.
Grab a lemon. So
Mine's
I'm
looking
gonna,
good too.
did you taste yours?
Yes, it's a little spicy.
So's mine.
Oh,
I think
So's mine.
I put too
Oh,
much
'cause you
red
just-
pepper flakes in.
Yep, yep. I feel you, girl.
It's good though.
How do you counter that? So, I mean, you could put like a dollop of
Yogurt
it
or
might
sour cream.
curdle. Yeah, yogurt in it, but it might curdle.
Yeah.
That would be my only thing. Did you taste
okay.
the chicken sausage before you put the crushed red pepper in?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw my spinach in.
That would have been smart.
And I'm going to stir it in. And I'm going to give it some time to wilt a little. So just a few minutes. And I actually am going to cut some more up and put some in, because now that I'm stirring it, I could see it could use a little more spinach. Just another handful. All right, stir it in. And once the spinach starts to turn like a really intense bright green, then you know it's ready. So I'm gonna just push it down in there. Give it another minute. I'm gonna get my lemon. I'm gonna do about 1/3 of a lemon. I'm just gonna make sure there's no seeds in there. I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in here. Mix it in. Just a little bit of acid. One more taste. Ooh, yeah. So give it a second. We're gonna get it ready to plate. I'm gonna slide. Look, I'm gonna clean my kitchen in one clean sweep. Magic. No, not really. Can you guys still see the mess?
Just a little, just a few things are visible. Oh, that's better. Now it's all clean.
Okay, look, it's all clean now. Magic of TV. So here we go. We've got our cheese and this. The only thing I am gonna do is maybe a little more pepper in this now that I'm letting it sit for me and mine. Another stir. Super yum. A ladle. A tiny little ladle. So I'm gonna ladle mine into my bowl. I'm gonna go down to the bottom, make sure I get some of those lentils. Plenty of veggies. This is a really hearty soup. I really, really love it. I will eat this. I just pick out the sausage and give it to my husband. So here we go. I'm gonna get a nice slice of bread to serve on the side. I know you guys have probably seen this at, yeah, it's one of my favorite breads. So I kind of serve it on the side here. A nice generous serving of Parmesan cheese on top. And there you have it.